So just to be clear, uh, you have shot someone in self-defense, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What led to the event happening?
In 2016, I was a truck driver. Gotta get up at 2 in the morning. It was roughly about midnight. My daughter walks into her room. My wife was still awake. She said she heard a loud, like, growling noise in her room. My wife told her, "Hey, tell your older brother and have him go check it out." Mind you, she just got out of the shower. She didn't do that. Instead, she looked through a back window and seen some type of cloth outside her door. She didn't know what it was walking back to her room and just kept hearing like a growling noise, but it didn't sound like an animal, she said. So when she came back into the room, she's like, "Hey, mom, I still hear it and it sounds weird." At that time, I always have a gun next to me. So I grabbed my gun and I went to go check. She had a sliding door with 2 steps down to her room. I
Hmm.
opened the sliding door. Half was her room, half was my gaming area. I moved the curtain to my right, pointed my gun looking for somebody. And when I turned left, there was a guy in his boxers, creeped up with something in his hand. At the moment, I didn't know what it was, and is underneath my pool table. And he's ranting on, just talking, making growling noise, saying stuff about the devil and stuff.
Do you have any idea how you got in?
At the moment, we had no clue. So we ended up finding out that he broke through our back door to the room of my daughters. And from what they told us, he was watching her from the outside, took off his clothes, left his boxers on, and was waiting for her to come back in.
Oh my God. So there's a
Yeah.
room, I mean, there's a door that leads straight outside from your daughter's room. I'll just
To the
make
back.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, just because it sounds, it don't sound normal, so I was trying to make it clear.
Yeah.
So what led you to fire your weapon?
So when I caught him, I had my gun pointed at him. Mind you, I'm on top of 2 steps.
Hmm.
He's crouched down. So I'm pointing down with my weapon like this. I tell him, "Look, if you move, I will shoot." And he started saying, "No, no, this," start talking, gibberish. And I told him straight out, "Look, I will kill you. If you move, come towards me, I will kill you."
Hell
At
yeah.
that time, my wife came behind me and she's like, "Somebody's there." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Call 911 because if he moves, I'm shooting him." She on the phone, my oldest son came running and he had a shotgun. I had told him I was going to switch the shotgun for the 45. I had a 45. I was going to switch the shotgun because I didn't want him to move. If he moved, I wanted to make sure I could stop him. But when he brought me the shotgun, it had no bullets. So I just kept the 45 and I told him, "Hey, go get the other gun." He came back with nine, I believe. As soon as I looked and told her that I was talking to them. As soon as I turned back, he got up and just ran for it. And when he did that, my aiming was still at the floor. When he did that, I let off 3 rounds. After letting out the 3 rounds, he fell, and then I pointed at his head and said, "Don't move, because this one's going in your head."
Mhm.
Um, he got up. When he got up, I, aimed for his head, and as soon as he got up, he fell right down. According to my wife, 911 asked if I shot him, and I told her, "Yeah, I shot him, so might as well bring the ambulance." No, I got it.
Yeah. Dang. So how close was he?
He was about when he when I first seen him, he was about 6 feet away from me.
Hmm.
By the time I realized he was rushing me, we're about 3 feet from each other.
Dang. So I'm guessing all three rounds that you fired hit him.
Unfortunately, because I was still aiming at at a lower
Hmm.
area where he was at.
Hmm.
When I turned around, I just let off the 3 rounds. And according to the detective that had the case, he said, because I had shot him in the thigh and I shot him in the testicles. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to shoot him anywhere else.
Hmm. And then did
So
it?
one round left,
So
hit the
one.
wall.
Okay. Okay. One miss.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did they ever find like where that bullet went? Did it go completely through all your walls into something else or into the ground?
Two of them were in him. The one that no, sorry, one was in him. The other one hit the wall, and the other one I have.
None of them
Yeah.
exited. Did any of them exit completely as it exit your house?
No, because I think the one that stood at him and the one went through him,
Hmm.
and the one I shot just hit the wall, and it just broke the stucco out from the other side of the wall.
Dang. Okay.
That was pretty much it. And it went through my billiard stool, like my stool, from like when we play pool table and stuff.
Yeah.
So I went through my stools.
And was it hollow point?
Yeah, 45 hollow point.
So when you fired the 3 rounds, like, did you know it was 3 rounds that you fired, or did the detectives tell you later that like it was 3 rounds?
No, I know. I knew it was 3 rounds.
Yeah. Were you disoriented at all, or it was like, you know?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I would just focus on terminating him and not him getting through me.
Yeah. I'm assuming he didn't have a weapon on him, or visible weapon.
No, it turned out he didn't. He
Okay.
didn't have anything on him. But again, it was midnight and it was real dark in the room, so I wasn't able to see what he had.
Okay. So about how long did it take the police to arrive?
6 minutes.
Dang. That's pretty quick.
That's 6 minutes.
And
That's what they say the normal time response is.
dang.
6 minutes.
And what happened once they arrived?
Everybody had left like my family all took off out the front door. I was the only one still holding him at gunpoint, and the cops told me to drop my gun and come outside with my hands up. So I complied.
Did they take your weapon?
So at the time, I had weapons in my son's room. My son's older.
Mm-hmm.
My room. So I had like about 5 or 6 guns. They tried to take them all.
Dang.
I told them, nope, you cannot take none of my guns but the one I use.
Yeah.
There was a little argument between us and the cops. Everything said and done, they only left with that gun that night.
Okay.
It's the one I used. Yeah.
Dang. It sucks that they try to take them all with.
Yeah. I was like, you're not going to leave me.
Did they give a good reason?
They said because I had them in my son's room and they weren't secured. My son's 31 at the time. He was 23.
Okay, what happened after you spoke with the police?
There was bad blood between me and the lead detective because he drilled my daughter trying to get her to confess that was her boyfriend that I caught her with. So after we spoke, they asked me what happened. They had me out here from midnight to about 3 a.m.
Okay.
in pajamas, cold. And then I kind of just stopped talking. Then my wife kind of pretty much was doing all the talking.
Were you arrested or detained or anything?
No, I wasn't. At that moment, I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew my family was safe. They never brought up charges. At the time, I was a felon. Since then I got it dropped to a misdemeanor and got it expunged, my rights reinstated.
Dang.
But they did take the gun. They didn't press no charges or anything. But they didn't release the gun back to me.
Oh, did they release it to your son? Or?
No, I had to sell it to my wife and have my wife pick it up.
So was there like any legal process that you had to go through?
Me personally, no. So what happened with the guy, they told my wife they didn't want to pay the hospital bill.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't arrest him. They left him in the hospital, let him recover, and then sent him a letter to show up to court, which he skipped. I think it was 3 years later they finally caught him, and he did 4 months.
It took him 3 years to catch the guy that you shot, and they took to...
Mind you, they pulled him over at a near city, told him he had a warrant for not appearing, and gave him a notice to appear. And skipped out on that too.
That makes zero sense right there. All right.
People were so upset because he was trying to break into houses during the day.
Yeah.
And cops came, picked him up, took him home. And from his house, he came to my house.
God.
And he lives 10 blocks from me.
How did the incident affect you and your family's life?
So I was raised in the streets. So it kind of didn't do anything to me. The trauma came to my wife. And at the time, it was I believe he was 6 years old son, who is now 14. The trauma came to them two. Them two are the only ones that have the trauma. And my daughter, for the drilling that they did, trying to get her to confess and stuff.
Oh, yeah, man.
My son has problems sleeping. I think the school had him go to counseling, but every time he went to counseling, they kept bringing it up. So after 2 years, we told him, look, just let it fade away. Nobody talks about it, nothing. Let him just be him.
Yeah.
He was sleepwalking, just traumatic for him. The next day, there was cops by my house, and my wife turned the corner. She made a U-turn to the left, called me crying, saying, hey, I can't go to the house. There are cops there. I said, they're at our house? She's like, no, it's down the street. So she was traumatized for a while, for at least a couple of years or so. Them two were the most affected, I believe. My daughter kind of got over it after a while.
So... I want to take you to a few hours after it happened. What were you thinking then?
Honestly, I didn't have any thoughts. As soon as the cops were done with talking to us, My brother-in-law came, picked us up. I mean, I'm not trying to sound cold or anything. We pretty much just went to breakfast, came back, and the media got here as soon as the cops were called. They surrounded my house. They wouldn't let me go in the house or anything. They just crowded us. So we left, got some food, came back, and I sent my kids with my in-laws.
Dang.
And I really didn't think about it. Yeah.
And
At that moment, I was just waiting for whatever consequences they're going to give me.
yeah, did you think something worse was coming to you or no?
In a way, I did, because I was an ex-felon. So I figured, but I wasn't thinking about it till about 2 weeks later, I guess. It's like, man, because the detective did bring it up, but we did tell him, like, hey, I was supposed to turn it in. They never told me to turn it in. Yeah. So I never turned it in. I just kept it for protection. But yeah, nothing never happened.
Dang.
So I was like relieved,
And when you say like the media came, so he's like news reporters and stuff showed up almost immediately?
Yeah, it was all over the news.
Dude, that's crazy.
That morning. And that's the thing. Me and the lead detective had it for each other, because just that, when I found out what he did to my daughter, literally just pissed me off.
Oh, yeah.
And so the media was out here. I was like, yeah, you guys want an interview? I'll do an interview.
Yeah.
Just out of spite. With the lead detective, I think things didn't go through. We found out later on that detective actually had mental issues. He ended up committing suicide. And they gave us another detective, which was cooler. And he just like, hey, I don't care what happened. Just you come pick up his gun once it's over. Said and done. You can come pick it up. No charges are being filed. So he was more understanding than the lead detective was at that time.
What advice would you give to someone that's going through a similar experience?
No matter what happens, the consequences, the fact that you and your family are still alive, it trumps all. Another advice I want to give to people who own guns that are afraid to pull the trigger, you got to do it. There's so many stories you hear of people getting killed with their own guns because they don't want to kill somebody. And I get that. I didn't want to kill that guy. I didn't, luckily. But it's either you or them. Because if he would have got through me, I have a wife, my 2 kids, a baby. Well, actually, it was 3 kids, a baby. Me being the man of the house, I had to protect my family. If they make you fear for your life, that's giving you a reason to shoot. Don't pull out a gun and not use it. You actually pull out the gun is because you're going to use it. You're that fearful for your life. Use the gun. Deal with the consequences later.
And like I always say, like, you never know what that person's motive is either. Like, you don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, and the fact that he's in the boxers just waiting for my daughter to get back. She had just got out of the shower. Because even if you're not pro-gun or pro-Second Amendment, there's no limit to what people would do, especially a father like me, for our family. I mean, those who don't own guns and don't believe in guns, that's your right. I wish you the best. I hope nothing ever happens. You ever get in that predicament. Because when you get in that predicament and you have nothing to defend yourself, you're going to realize that maybe I should have just have at least one.